awful. I didn't say that, but it probably would have been more awful for you, honestly. It probably would have been more awful for you, honestly. If you're for your sibling walking in on your sibling making out with somebody, that would have been weird. Weird.
Me and my best friend, her brother had his girlfriend, and so we were gonna go get something from his room because they share a room. And we walked in at the wrong time. My sister raised it. That was all I could think of. My sister, there's a reason I homeschooled. It's not better.
It's better days.
Oh no.
Guys, Jason is better days.
We can laugh about it now. She's moved out, so I can make the wrong one. I felt good. So there, I have one of my brothers. I wish my brothers would come to town. I haven't seen Austin in like
Dude, the way
3
your mom
years.
was like, how did you do on your doing?
I don't even have a picture of my mom.
Oh, he's funny. She already did. Yeah. So, are you guys free all Saturday?
Okay, we're going to start by taking a few questions on the test and see where we go from there. And then we're going to learn the last lesson in this unit. And, you know, who the heck knows? He's here, so I don't know. I think he's here, isn't he? Blue, isn't he here? Or have I not seen him and I'm thinking about another day?
He's supposed to be.
But he's not here? Okay. Well, there you go. Maybe he's just running late. All right. Oh, I forgot to print yours, but I can let you look at it on here.
What did you get? No.
I got 40
on this one and 51 on the other one.
I got 90 on this one and 96 on the other one.
You know what it is? No better than your last grade.
Here, let me put it in different mode so it won't turn off the screen so fast. There you go. Okay. What questions do you have from midterm day 2? Sure.
Number 1.
You can believe it. You have other pages. What's happening?
Yeah, that's what.
Why is it not scrolling? What is happening?
Talk to the sign.
Oh yeah, it is. No,
Oh,
just kidding.
Jason, all of a sudden it is.
Oh, now it's working. I don't know why it wasn't working before, but it's working. Great. You should be able to scroll. I don't know what was going on before.
This is.
No, that's a different document. Oh yeah, sorry. Great. Now you can scroll. There you go. 6. If x equals -2 when y equals 4, find x when y equals 46. Also says suppose y varies directly as x. So we need the direct variation equation. What is the direct variation equation? Y equals kx is accurate. Okay. It says if x equals -2 when y equals 4, right? And find x when y equals 46. So what are we going to put in? So pause for a second. Think about English on this problem, right? We are in a math class, and math is about thinking. So is English. Look at that instructions on 6. Like it splits into 2 chunks, right? So you wouldn't just use all the chunks together. You'd keep them split, right? So you're not going to plug 3 things. That wouldn't even make sense. Think about that too. So if you're one of the 2 or 3 people that's putting like all the numbers in there, stop and think about whether that even makes sense and why it doesn't make sense, right? Because if I start shoving things in an equation, if I put a 5 here and I put a 10 here and a 12 here, is 5 going to equal 10 times 12? Definitely not. So that doesn't even make any sense. Think about what an equation is. If you're still struggling to solve equations, think about what it is. We're trying to keep it balanced. That's why when we add 5 to one side, we have to add it to the other side. Because if you don't add it to both, then it's not equal anymore. Then it's not balanced. The teeter-totter goes like this, and it flips over, and then the fat kid goes down, and the little tiny skinny kid goes way in the air, right? So we got to keep our teeter-totter balanced, or else it breaks. This is very important in math that you start thinking if you haven't already. That's why geometry is make or break. Because if you don't start thinking in geometry, then you are never going to pass the test in geometry, ever, if you don't start thinking. In math, sometimes you can get away with it just by memorizing a few things. In algebra. Sometimes you can get away with like passing barely if you don't think a lot by just memorizing some stuff. But start thinking about whether this makes sense. Math does make sense. It's straightforward. It's not actually confusing. You can put edit with anything you want, right? You can use the same sort of thinking that you would do at a volleyball game. If I put this in, I get that out, right? That's what algebra is. If I put this thing in here, then I get this other thing out. That's algebra in a nutshell. Period. Like straight up. That is literally algebra. Geometry is geometry and embedded in algebra sometimes is, okay, at my volleyball game I have setters, I have nets, I have these puzzle pieces. How do I get ball over there? By using this piece with that piece. And then ball go there, right? That's geometry in a nutshell. This problem, how to do it will make sense if you stop and think about what the heck is even happening. Stop just trying to memorize everything. Ain't never going to work. Your brain's not that big, I promise. Mine isn't either. You got to stop and think. Okay, this problem. We got 3 numbers. If x equals 2, when y equals 4. You see how those 2 numbers go together? So which numbers are we going to put in here? Those numbers. And it tells you where to put them because it says x equals -2 and y equals 4. Right? So we're going to put a 4 right here. And a -2 right here. Always when we're solving an equation, we're trying to figure out the variable. We're trying to get it by itself. That's our goal, right? That's what solving it means. So we always have to think what's there. And then we do the opposite to get rid of it. You remember that little cycle that we talked about at the very beginning, back when you were across the street over there? Learning about how to solve equations, you find what's attached, how's it attached, do the opposite to get rid of it. Do that forever with a little half-phase cleanup sometimes. Same. What's attached to k? -2. How? Division. What's the opposite? No, it's not divide. Y'all are saying things that are wrong. How is it attached? Multiplication. What's the opposite? Division. So we're going to divide by -2. What's 4 divided by -2? -2. So k equals -2. Great. Now it says write a direct variation equation. So what that means, we take this, put it right up in there for k, and then circle it. Right? So y equals -2x. There's our direct variation equation. If you got -1 on it, it's probably because you didn't do that. That's probably it. What? Okay. So then it says find x when y equals 46. Now, this is we did 6 and we did 7, right? On 6, we're trying to find x when y equals 46, and on 7, we're trying to find y when x equals 45. Right? So that tells you where to plug the thing in. Some of you kind of, because you're focused on memorizing steps instead of understanding what's happening, you ended up just doing the same thing you did before. But it's asking for something different. You see what I'm saying? Where you have to stop and think, right? Because it tells you where to put it if you'll stop and, instead of just trying to memorize steps. When you're studying for a quiz, when you're studying for a test, don't memorize steps. Think about what is it and why is it. Does that make sense? And if you can't answer those questions, it's time to ask. Right? You need to understand what is it and why is it. Right? And then how is it? What is it, why is it, and then how? Because how changes. Because that's the thing. You know, that's kind of the meme. It's kind of the meme before there's memes. Of the problem on the homework, 2 plus 2 equals 4. The problem on the quiz, 2 plus 12 minus 36 plus 42, whatever else. The question on the test, if the elephant ate, whatever, which is not really true, but you get the idea that it's going to look different here and it's going to look different here. And when you go out into the real world and use some of these ideas, some of them, it's going to look even more different. When I'm trying to figure out how much mulch to buy for my flower bed, that looks even more different. But it's still math. Yeah? Okay. So we're on number 6. Where are we going to put the 46? In for y. Negative 2 is the tax multiplication. We divide to get rid of it. So x equals negative 23. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay. On numbers 1, 2, and 3, if you got those wrong, it's okay right now. And these are ones that you need to be able to look at it. Like if you look at the key, there is no work, none on 1, 2, and 3. And if you currently cannot graph 1, 2, and 3 with no work, that is one that you need to stop and make sure you understand, because that one is going to come up again, and then another time, and then another time after that, and then even more times. This is a topic. There are some topics in math where you need to be able to do it in your sleep. This is one you need to know because it's going to come up that much, and it's also that easy sometimes. This is really easy. 1, 2, and 3 are easy. If you miss it, don't feel bad. That doesn't mean you're dumb. That doesn't at all mean you're dumb. It means there's something you're confused about. Okay? What?
It won't let me scroll again.
That's crazy. He did. He was flipping through my Google Docs.
I did not.
You did. Look, like the whole thing is frozen. What is going on? You know what I should do is, I should real quickly download it and then open it and Fox it, and then it'll work great. Freaking Google Docs. What you're doing? Google Docs is sad today. What you doing? Get over yourself. Oh, it's internet. Something's going on with internet. That's what's happening. Just turn the Wi-Fi off and back on again. There we go. Where's the button I want? I want none of those. It's probably because I'm on tablet. Oh, there it is. Download. One item will be downloaded. Thanks. Files, please. Open it and Fox it. There we go. Now you will scroll left and right. All right, let's do number 1. There were some of you that remembered the beginning of how to do these by finding the intercepts, which is great. I do want you to keep that concept in your head. This is a thing that you can do, because later when the graphs are not lines and when they're starting to look like something like this, understanding what intercepts is great, right? So I want you to keep that concept in your head, but you don't even need that to graph this one. It's even easier to graph than that. So intercepts is good. I'm glad that some of you remembered that, and you can do this one even easier. There are 2 pieces of information there. What are they? Slope and y-intercept. True enough. What? He's been here. He's only a couple minutes late. But he was here. He got here. Well, I didn't really acknowledge his existence when he came in, which is maybe why you didn't notice, because you're over there drawing on yourself.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, I knew you weren't, but I also knew it was going to be funny when I accused you of it. And it was funny. Anyway, welcome, Blue. We're glad you're here again. Okay, so the slope, the M, the y-intercept, the B. What is the slope of this line? 1. The y-intercept, that's important. Some of you were getting your y's and your x's crisscrossed applesauce. I had that on several things. The B, this guy, he is the y-intercept. Up and down is the y-axis, right? So to graph this, now that we have extracted those 2 pieces of information, we just start putting dots on the page. Where's the first dot going to be? Up 3 from the middle. 1, 2, 3. Dot numero uno. Our slope is 1. Slope is rise over run, right? So we need the amount we rise and the amount we run. So how much are we going to rise and how much are we going to run? 1, and then also 1, right? So up 1 and over 1. Up 1 and over 1. And then we just connect those dots, and we've got it.
It makes more sense when it's explained. I feel like.
Makes sense.
Well, no, I mean it makes sense.
So I'm going to piggyback on that thought. Yes, it makes more sense to explain. I've already explained it before. And what you mean is it makes more sense when I'm up here talking it through, right? So the reason why it makes more sense when I'm up here talking it through is because I'm saying and asking the whys and the whats, right? That's why you can understand it, because I'm asking those questions. What you need to start, in order to get better at math, you've got to start asking those questions. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? And you've got to start checking in with yourself, because those are when you really actually have a question. You know, when we go through our homework and we do all of that kind of stuff, and you're like, okay, well, I missed this. I must have a question about it. That's not a bad place to start. That's not a bad place to start at all. A better question to ask is, okay, I missed this. Do I know why I missed it? Okay? Because sometimes you do. Sometimes it's you didn't write negative down. Right? I mean, that got quote-unquote careless mistakes are like a big part of taking a math thing, right? But if you don't know why you missed it, then you really, really have a question. Okay. What other questions from the test do you have?
Could we do number 2?
Sure.
Just because of the fraction.
The fraction kind of makes it easier. At church, you throw pencils? Is that what you said?
Every time, though.
It's like, I don't know if y'all have seen the old Disney movie called Pollyanna, but in it, Pollyanna is this kind of happy person, like overly happy person. Her father is a minister of some sort, and she goes into this place and stays with, I think they're relatives, I don't remember, but stays with people who go to a kind of southern legalistic old school Puritan type church. And so when she goes to church with them and on this Sunday morning, the pastor comes up to the lectionary, and he's up there, and his sermon begins with, "Death comes unexpectedly."
Love that.
And whatever, I don't remember. Oh yeah, that was, and so that maybe that's your kind of church, and death. Oh no. That's okay, I don't really care. Anyway, moving on. We have two pieces of information. We might care later, just not yet. Okay, we have two pieces of information. What are they? Slope and y-intercept. What is what?
Slope is 1 over 2, and y-intercept is -5. Yeah.
I know.
Where am I going to put a dot?
On -5.
Where is that?
5 down.
5 down on the y-axis, not the x-axis. The y-intercept is on the y-axis. Right? Right. Okay. I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to put a dot. And then from said dot, we're going to figure out the slope. Slope is rise over run. We've got to figure out how much we're going to rise and how much we're going to run. How much are we going to rise? 1. How much are we going to run? 2. So we're going to go up 1 and over 1, 2. Put a dot. Up 1 and over 1, 2. And put a dot. We connect said dots, and there you go. Any other questions from this test? We can do 11. Donovan, please stop, sir. Do you have paper today? We're supposed to write an equation of the line that in slope-intercept form that passes through -2, 4, and 2, 2, right? Yeah, 2, 2.
Jace likes
No one likes 2, 2s. Literally no one. I mean, that's probably not true. I mean, like, you can't say that about anything, right? I mean, they have that weird show where people are like have weird compulsions, like drinking gasoline. So, you know, people do stupid stuff. So somebody likes 2, 2s, but virtually no one likes 2, 2s. No, they don't. No, there's no way they like 2, 2s. Okay, so we're going to write an equation of line and slope-intercept form passes through the given point. So we need to know what B slope-intercept form.
Y equals mx plus
It is
b.
y equals mx plus b.
It's performance week, so she's
No. Wait, what? Dance.
Oh, yeah.
Dance revolution. Okay, anyway. Slope-intercept. So we need that information to tell us what to do with that. So what two pieces of things do we need to know to have this? Slope and y-intercept. Same. So we need to find the slope from those 2 points. You hush. So how do we find the slope between 2 points? Slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Difference of the y's over the difference of the x's. Okay, so concept alert. Are you ready? Here is a y bit. Because see, here's the deal. This equation is actually, if you just look at this and like, oh my gosh, I got to memorize that formula. There's too many letters. It's never going to happen. I can't hold that in my brain. I got you, fam. I got you. Because if you understand what that formula is and why that formula is, it's easy. Easy money. Do you know why I asked you if you have paper today? No, that's not, no. Do you know why I asked you if you have paper today? Yeah, what might I be suggesting you should write? Let me ask you a clarifying question. Did you make 100 on the test? No. Therefore, there are things that we're going over right now that might be useful to your brain. So maybe participate in class, please. Thank you. Do you have a pen or pencil today? Okay, so you have a solution for that. I got a tool for you. What can you do now? Did it. Good job. We're proud. Okay. Where am I? Oh. Difference of the y's over the difference of the x's. So to find any distance between two places, you subtract where you go from where you started. Always. Right? So if I'm playing football, right? We understand the basics of how football works, even if you're not a football fan, even if you're like, ooh, 49ers, ooh, Cowboys, I hate the game. You understand how it works. There's two groups of sweaty dudes colliding in the middle. Right? Ball tried to go from these set of dudes over to that place over there, right? We understand this much. There are also lines on floor. We know that much. If you know those things, then my analogy makes sense. If I wanted to go from here, from the 20-yard line to the 40-yard line, how many yards do I got to go? 20. 40 minus 20 is 20. Yeah? If I'm trying to find how long something is, I subtract where I got to from where I started. Any distance is found this way. Slope is what over what, boys and ladies? Rise over run. Which one is rise, x or y? Y. Rise over run. So how far we went up to how far we went over. That's how this formula gets built. Makes sense. Easy peasy. What should we do now? Substitute those numbers in. If you are even remotely consistently seeing on your paper where I'm drawing arrows and like turning stuff around, then you probably want to add an extra step of going ahead and labeling these real quick, right? That just then you don't hardly have to think later. In pre-cal, we did several things today, and we invented a new phrase. You know, the phrase for buying quality things is buy once, cry once, right? It's where you buy the better thing so that you don't have to replace it with the junk, right? That's the idea of that. Same thing here. Think once, cry once. If we isolate our thought here, then we don't even have to think anymore. We just start shoving stuff where it matches. It's like those matching games. This red square matches that red square. Connect the dots. And that's all you're eliminating variables from your brain, right? Is what this kind of thing does. Okay. Why parentheses? Why do I tell you to do that? So your signs don't get confused. That's right. That's why. What's going to go right here? 2. It matches. What about right here? 4. And this one? 2. And this one? -2. Great. Ka-chink, ka-chink. What is 2 minus 4? -2. What is 2 plus 2? 4. Does it reduce?
Yes.
Yes. Great. We found the slope. That's great. What did the instructions ask for?
Find an equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through the given points.
We found the slope. The equation, the short answer to my question was an equation in slope-intercept form. Do we have that yet? No. Are we done yet? No. Right? See what we did? We isolate our thinking. It's like, okay, how do I get this formula? Then this is the thinking, and then everything after that is you just plug stuff in. Used to whenever I taught in public school. Sometimes you teach test taking strategies for doing multiple choice tests where you just plug and chug. You just take this, plug it in there, and then chug out an answer. That's all we're doing. We're just lining it up. Easy peasy. What's the slope intercept form? That one. Great. What are we going to plug now? Negative 1/2 into the n. If you're one of the couple people who did it with point slope, that's great as well. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here because we had some errors doing it this way. So I want to make sure for those of you who are like doing this method, get some things right. That we had some adding extra junk at the end. Some of you, I don't remember who all did it this way. That happened. We also did some weird distribution things. So we'll walk it through this way as well. What am I going to stick in the open spaces? Okay, which one? What am I going to put right here? 4 sounds great. So I'm using this one. What am I going to put right here? -2. Great. If I'm using the point slope method, I'm using the same 2 points, right? Y minus 4 equals -1/2 times x minus -2. Right? This one could chink on there. What do I do over here? -1/2 times -2, which is 1. Something, we had some issues with like when to add, when to subtract, and whatever else. Make sure you're doing the opposite, right? Because 1 plus 1 is 2, not 0, right? So we subtract the 1 and get b equals 3. Great. This way, we distribute. And we've got y minus 4 equals -1/2, x minus 1. We add 4 to both sides. And we get y equals -1/2 x plus 3. This way we have one more step, right? What do we need to do? Put it in the equation. It's worth noting this is not an uncommon error that some of you made. Your final slope intercept will have y and x in it still, not numbers, right? All right, we're going to move on to today's stuff. To those of you who are not doing corrections and making less than a 90, corrections really can be very helpful to you, not just for your grade, who the heck cares about that, but for you actually getting concepts, and we know it stacks, we know it's going to get harder, we know we're going to add more stuff, so the more you have that foundation built, the easier it's going to be. How many of you have ever played with blocks before? If you play with blocks, inevitably you have stacked towers, right? You know from experience that if you put the tall, skinny one at the bottom and you try to stack everything else, while it can be fun, it's not going to last as long as if you build a nice foundation and build up from there, right? Same with math. So that's what the corrections are there for. They're there for you to be able to iron out some of those things that were confusing before. Okay, what numbers did we get assigned?
8 through 40, even.
8 through 40. Great.
She gave it to us.
Gave it to us last week
Yeah.
in class. Oh, I forgot about that.
Whatever.
I forgot that it was written down on a piece of paper and not on a.
Did you too?
Yeah, Jason did it either. Oh, of course you should. I put 6 on this one.
Okay. Hey guys.
I think we're going to do this one on the television. I think that's going to be easier for us because of graphs.
It's in Google. It's really close to my house.
I don't know.
What page?
I don't know what's doing this at all.
314 through 315.
I guess here we go.
I feel like you're not well.
No, I was not under the influence. I just don't remember doing this. I got home from softball practice,
What are the numbers?
and then
8 through 34.
I remember
8
sitting down
is.
with all of my stuff in front of me. And
Wait, 8 through what? 30?
oh, for anything after that.
8 through 30.
Did we do 5-5 or 5-4?
5-5. You said 5-5. You said 5-5.
Bye.
We did do 5-5. We did absolute value. Did we ever do 5-4?
No, we just went straight. We should 5-5.
What happened?
I don't know. You went.
I accidentally skipped one.
Let's go.
I know how 5.
Why would you say let's go? That doesn't even make any sense.
It just means we have to.
Well, that's fine. We can go back and grab. That's fine. That's not a problem. We'll make it work. We got this. We'll go back and grab 5-4 compound inequalities. I'm surprised y'all didn't like balk when we started like having 2 dots and shading in different places and whatever else. Because we learned that in compound inequalities. Y'all are so smart. You're like, we roll with the punches. No big deal. Okay. At least those of us that remembered we had homework.
I called my grandma. I was like, "Can you have homework with me, please? I want to do these right directions."
You called your grandma? Is that what you said?
I was like, I know how to help. I was like, Mom, you did this. Yeah, what did I do?
That's so
I think
fun.
that. No, yeah. Well, she was a math teacher too. I don't remember. This is the first one. Yeah. My cousin, was the type of kid who would put like little pieces of paper on math problems and solve math problems with cooking. But so we could take them out later and solve them for fun.
Not only that, apparently.
That's so
Can you sleep?
Yeah.
I really sleep.
He's a cowboy now. Not even just yeah, he's a cowboy now.
All right.
In my dream. I don't even. Okay.
There is 2 and 4. Well, that's 2 and 4. You're welcome.
Beautiful.
There's 8 and 10.
I'm so smart. I feel way better.
And there's 12 and 14. Whoop. 12 and 14.
Wait, can you just write not solvable?
You can write no solution, but that is the correct answer, the null set.
I think we had to solve it first, and then there's a solution.
What?
I think we had to solve it first, and then
Well, you can't solve it if there's no solution. You mean you have to do the work first?
yeah, like figure out that.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Um,
That doesn't change the fact that that's the answer, right?
yeah.
Right.
I don't even understand how I
Okay.
did that.
Where are we going?
To 16
Alright.
and 18.
Did I do 16?
There's 16 and 18.
I'm a failure. That's blue.
No, you're not.
What did he take?
And 20 is 76 is less than or equal to t is less than or equal to 80.
Wait, can you say that answer?
I can go.
76 is less than or equal to t is less than or equal to 80. 22 and 24 are those ones.
Mr. Shump, do you have I'm blanking, what's it called?
What?
It's sticky in this paper and you can put it on your...
I don't have a sticky note. No.
Sticky? No, I was what is it?
26 and 28 are those. 30B is that, or something like it. 30A is 0 is less than or equal to D is less than or equal to 45.50. 32 is the absolute value of x is less than 2. 34, the absolute value of x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 2. 38, absolute value of negative 7.5 is less than or equal to 0.3. And 40, the absolute value of b minus 98 is less than or equal to 6. What questions do we have on those? 30 we can do.
He's the prey. At least they're not.
Okay. Flip this back around.
At this point,
Where's your homework?
Sorry?
Where's your homework?
We forgot to do it.
Actually, my phone
No.
did.
It was on your phone, that's what.
No, my phone broke.
No, this wasn't that, bro.
I was on the charger for so long and I had an expanded battery and the screen was getting pushed out.
Wait, what happened?
It had an expanded battery.
Oh, the battery went puffy.
Yeah.
I do the same thing, but is it in the heat? When I pull out a hobby and it starts melting.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
What is it, like ice cream now?
I went buy a bunch of chargers.
You never answered my question. Where's your homework?
I said it's not done.
Okay.
I said it to you and then I said it's not done. And then somebody said
Follow-up question. Why?
Why? Wait,
I
what?
didn't know, dude.
Follow-up question. Why?
Why did you not do it?
Did you forget to or did you not want to?
I did forget the one day that I was gonna do it. I forgot it, and then the second day I had a bunch of stuff to do. And then the third day it was my chill day, and I just decided not to do it.
The third day was your
It was your chill day?
It was his
Yes, it was my chill day.
Like, it was your chill, but I was not here. It's like,
That was the day.
yesterday I had.
Where's your homework? Why? Why didn't you do your homework?
I did mine on Friday before I went on my trip.
Y'all do your homework. Like, do your homework.
I did mine on Friday before I went on my trip because I got here this morning at 1.
Do you want a gold star or something? What is the point of this? What is the point of this tirade?
You told me to do it, so I did, yeah.
I will try my hardest to do it.
Talk about, I love gold.
So you're not going to do it then?
That's so cold.
No. Because see, you said you're going to try your hardest, which means you're not going to do it. It's either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. Those are really the only two possibilities. You had a chill day.
was Sunday.
Take responsibility. Do your homework. 30. Each year, Kareem receives a $150 gift card to download music and apps onto his phone. The card expires in 1 year. Suppose Kareem gives himself a monthly allowance to use from his card. Excuse me. If he spent $3, I can't talk. If he spent $3 of his monthly allowance for each of the first 11 months, find the range Kareem has left to spend on music and apps the last month of the year. It's a $150 gift card. So he's got $150 on a gift card. Right? Place expires in a year. So 12 months. All we're doing right now, so this is problem solving 101, right? All we're doing right now is collecting bits of information. That's really, and that's 98.5% of the time when you do a word problem, that's step one. When you go to high school physics, that's step one. You write down your variables with the units. What information do we have? Write down the numbers, all the stuff. We start collecting stuff. When you go and you want to build you a new dirt bike, you start collecting, okay, what do I have? What do I need? What do I know? What do I not know? Do I know how to weld? I need to learn how to weld. Do I have an engine? No, I need to acquire an engine. Same, yeah? What do I have? $150 gift card, 12 months suspended, right? That's all we're doing, collecting information. Okay. If he spent within $3 of his monthly allowance for each of the 11 months. Spent within $3. Okay. Find the range Kareem has left to spend on music and apps the last month. Gives himself a monthly allowance to use from his card. Okay, so if we're assuming that he's got 12 months and he says, okay, I'm going to give myself a monthly allowance for this month. If you were going to do that, I've got $150. I want to spread out a monthly allowance. What math would you do to figure it out? Divide it. All right, so how much per month? 150 divided by 12. What's 150 divided by 12? You have calculators, probably. 12.5. So he's got $12.50 per month. Right? So he spent within $3 of his monthly allowance. So what does that mean? What does that English mean? What? One of you say something. Me again. What? So I don't think it's up to 3 a month. I think it's actually meaning the other way around. He spends within $3 of his monthly allowance.
This means that he could have spent $9.50 or up to $15.50.
Yeah. He's plus or minus $3 from that, which is where the absolute value kind of comes in, right? Sort of. That's kind of the absolute value bit of here. So he has got $12.50 in the middle. He could add $3 to it, or he could subtract $3 from it. Right, so we're making an absolute value equation from that, which you don't have with most absolute value word problems in a book like this. You don't necessarily have to technically use an absolute value equation to do it. Sometimes you can just kind of add and subtract, and then it's between these things. All right, but let's do it with an absolute value equation. Absolute value equation, you need to know 2 bits of information. You need to know the middle, And you need to know the difference, the plus or minus, right? He either gained 5 yards or he was sacked for 5 yards. And he started at the line of scrimmage, right? I went back to football, sorry. What is happening? Who was she dating? What is going on? Okay, so the middle, what is the middle in this scenario? 1250. Now, to do it in the absolute value, you have to do the opposite sign. So for the middle, we've got 1250. X minus 1250. And then can be up 3 or down 3, right? So that equals 3. Okay. We got it. So we got a middle, we got up 3, down 3. 1250 comes from this divided by 12, right? Okay. So we need to solve this little absolute value equation. How do we do that? Split it into 2. Easy peasy. What is one of them going to look like? What is the other one going to look like? Now what? Plus 12.5 over here. To be clear to everyone, the real answer to my question earlier was I felt like there were more important things to do with my time. That was the real answer to the question. You might have been right and you might have been wrong, but that's the real answer to the question. And that's what I mean. If you don't do your homework, or you don't do whatever, or you don't study for a test, or you don't brush your teeth, or you don't walk the dog, or you don't take out the garbage, or whatever the thing is, if you don't do that thing, you made a choice to do something else instead. That is sometimes the right choice. If your animal is about to get run over from the street, you should stop doing your math homework and go save the animal. There are some times when this is a better choice. Choice B is better than choice A. That's the real answer. What I am telling you, what I'm trying my doggone to teach you, all of you, is to own your crap. If you didn't do your homework, it's because you chose to do something else. You might regret that choice, you might not. But that is the real answer, and it's the only real answer. Always, period, full stop. There is no other answer to that question. Well, I forgot is technically another answer to that question. Are you going to say something stupid? Am I going to be irritated by it? Okay, well, tread lightly. You can say it, but tread lightly. Well, then you chose to be in the hospital. Now, depending on the scenario, you may have chosen, your parents may have chosen for you, and probably it was the right choice. But you chose to be there. It doesn't fall down. The only other answer is I forgot. And then we need some sort of system to not have that issue, right? Okay. Continuing on. What do we do from here? X equals 15.5. So he could have spent up to 15.5, right? Which is this plus 3, right? The other one is, spoiler alert, going to be this minus 3, right? We divide by -1, right? So x minus 12.5 equals -3. And then we add 12.5 both sides, and we get x equals 12.5 minus 3, which is 950. Right? 950. So we have we've got even more puzzle pieces happening. If you will hear the words that, like, I cannot beg you enough, because a lot of the words that I'm saying today are why we do high school math. For the 5,000th time, it doesn't have anything to do with polynomials or even absolute value things. It's because of the thinking that you learn. So I cannot beg you enough to really hear and internalize the things I'm saying to you, because it's why I'm teaching this flipping class. And it's the real reason why you're here. The real reason isn't just because my mommy made me, or the state said I had to, or whatever else. Those are reasons, but those are not the real reasons. This does help you if you let it. So think about why, and think about what's going on, and all these puzzle pieces. So maybe you can pass geometry. That's not even the why. Okay, so we've developed more artifacts that we need to do with. We need to go back and figure out what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out the range, right? That's a range is from this number to that number, between here and here, right? So we've got $15.50 and $9.50. What are those numbers in this problem?
The least and the most you can spend.
Yeah, per when?
Per month.
Per month. So for 11 of those months, he spent somewhere between here and here, right? So what do we need to do? What would be our next step in this puzzle? Times 11 on both of them. That's right. This times 11. And this times 11. What's 15 and a half times 11?
176.5.
I concur.
Okay, so up to $107.50. So did he actually do this?
No.
Clearly no. But this pushes us over our bounds. So what is the least amount of money he could have available to him in December? $0. Right? If he pushed it this far, he ran out of money before December. Right? So 0 is our lowest. Right? What's this one times 11? What? 104.5. $104.50. So if he goes down there, does he got money left? Yes. How much? How do you find that out? $45.50. How would we find that out? This minus this. So his money is between $0 and $45.50. That's part A. Part B is a description of this. This is what we did. And part C is a why we did what we did, right? So this, part B and C are words. How we doing? Pretty good? Oh, it's 2 o'clock. Okay, so that means you don't have any homework that's due on Thursday. However, I am going to give you a bonus homework that is required. It's going to require searching something on YouTube. You don't search it up, bad English, but you do search for it. Go to Ember Learning Lab's page and search for compound inequalities.
Will you post that, or do we have to write it down?
I said you're going to have to search it on YouTube, so what do you think? What do you think? What's your guess? Okay, so 5 compound inequalities. Watch said video. Take notes on it. We'll talk about it on Thursday. Making sense? Easy peasy? Okay. I promise my job is to help you, not to hurt you. I promise that is the point of my job. Only say it if you mean it. You, at this point in your life, you might not yet mean it, but hopefully eventually you will. Mean the thank you. I mean, you might mean it now. You might recognize it.